My next guest is the former acting Secretary of Homeland Security and a Heritage Foundation visiting fellow, and he knows a thing or two about border security. Chad Wolf, welcome back to the program. Chad, thanks for coming on. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
So it seems like every time that we have had a chat over the past couple of weeks, Chad, things continue just to escalate at the border. We now have 15,000 plus, I think the last time you and I spoke it was 10, so 15,000 plus kids in these holding facilities that look like plastic cages, if you will, that are way overcrowded. We're hearing about $14 million a day. Is that what I heard? That coyotes and the drug smugglers are making and getting people across, plus more drugs are coming in. I mean, this is a massive crisis, not only on a humanitarian front, but on a legality standing as well.
Well, you're absolutely right. And it's going to continue to get worse. What we know is in the month of February and March, these are not historically super high traffic months along that border. We see the traffic normally pick up because of the weather in April, May, June, and July. Together, combined with some of the messaging and the policies coming out of the administration, we're going to continue to see these numbers until something dramatic changes along that border. And unfortunately, this administration continues to treat the crisis down there as a capacity issue, meaning if they surge enough resources or enough people down there, that will address the problem. And that's not the problem at hand there. The problem, as you know, is the illegal activity that's occurring. And instead of addressing and holding people accountable for those actions, they're simply trying to process them quicker, which at the end of the day is only going to encourage more of that illegal migration.
Yeah, and we're hearing that they're doing catch and release again. Obviously, we've known that since almost day one when he signed all the executive orders, undoing what the Trump administration and your department was doing such a great job at, along with Border Patrol, which was keeping our border secured. And we hear now catch release. There's no court dates. They're not checking them for COVID. I mean, there's so many concerns. You and I don't have enough time to talk about it. I want to roll a couple clips and get your reaction because here we have a gentleman that was in your old role under the Trump administration, and I'd like to roll this from Mr. Mayorkas, I believe is how you say his last name, and get your thoughts on what he considers a closed and secure border. Go ahead, guys.
The message is quite clear. Do not come. The border is closed. The border is secure.
The border is closed. The border is secure. Chad, is that a bold-faced lie to the American people?
Well, I mean, it's clear that the facts on the ground, the photos, the pictures, everything that we have been hearing and seeing over the last several weeks and months fly in the face of that statement. Look, I understand why he's making that statement, but it's not an accurate depiction of what's going on along that border. And, you know, there's a number of things that are happening down there, and the messaging is just part of it. If you recall, some of that messaging at the beginning of the administration and just until about a week ago was, you can come, just don't come now.
Yeah,
which is a absolutely terrible message. And again, part of what has fueled this crisis that we see going on today. It's a very inhumane policy, which in fact, you're encouraging individuals to come here to the U.S. knowing that the vast majority of them do not qualify for asylum and they're going to have to be sent home at the end of the day. And so it's very, very dangerous. And I think the American people, the vast majority of the American people can see through some of these statements when you have over 100,000 in February. I suspect in March we'll be closer to 140,000, maybe even north of that during the month of March. And like I said, it's probably going to go up from there.
Yeah, I mean, here we are. It's March 23rd. I've heard the same numbers as you. It was 100,000 last month. There was a little less in January because it had just began. The migration had started. And now we'll see 150 about this month. The administration tells us they've turned away at least 100,000. Well, I'm doing math, and I'm going, okay, if you had 40, 50 in January when it began, you had 100 last month and 100 and some this month, and you've turned 100 away, 15,000 kids in these cages. I'm no mathematician, but that still puts tens of thousands of illegals not back in their country waiting to do it properly, but that means here with no court dates. They could be going anywhere. We've heard about from small town mayors in Texas, Arizona, California, other states. They're just getting dumped off, or they're being held in some, local convention center or whatever, where small towns can't even right now help support their locals. And now they're having a few dozen or a few thousand migrants thrown in their small town.
Well, you're absolutely right. And you mentioned without a court date. So in the Rio Grande Valley, they are coming in, they're apprehending these illegal individuals, and they are not giving them what we call a notice to appear, an NTA, in a court at a future date. Why? Because that takes too long to process them, and there's too many of them at the end of the day. So this is the very definition of both a open border and a lawless border, where you pick up individuals that come into your country illegally, and then you just show them the front door, again, without any paperwork and without a court date. Now, we know this is bad, right? We know, and this is what we've been saying, is even if you give them a court date, they don't show up. DHS is now endorsing this notion of we shouldn't even give them a court date because we know they don't show up. So it's as bad as you can imagine. And again, it's because of a number of very poorly timed decisions made by this administration.
What a slap in the face to the millions upon millions of legal immigrants, which is what this country is made up of, who've come here, followed the process, paid the fees, waited for years to become citizens. I agree with the Trump administration when you were in charge. We need reform. We need to change the process so it is easier for folks. But my God, just to throw the book out the window and say, well, 80 to 90% don't show up for court dates anyway. I believe that's close to the percentage. So let's just not give them a court date. Let's just let them roam free. Got to end with this one, Chad, because we've watched the Biden administration undo all the policy by the Trump administration, almost, literally, right in front of our faces in 63, 64 days. Here's a soundbite, a quick clip from our current commander-in-chief yesterday when talking with reporters. It sounds like he's going to go back to now some of the Trump policy because there is a crisis. Roll this one and then I'll get your reaction, Chad.
What more can be done, sir?
A lot more. We're in the process of doing it now, including making sure that we reestablish what existed before, which is they can stay in place and make their case from their home country.
I know it might be hard to understand because of his mask on, but he was discussing we're going to reinstitute the stay at home, stay in place policy, and then apply for asylum. Weren't we already doing that under the previous administration, and then we didn't have a surge, right?
Well, absolutely. We talked a lot back in 2019 and 2020 about safe third countries, making sure that those individuals that are seeking asylum can do so closest to their home. And so we had a number of international agreements in place, which they canceled almost on day one. But I keep hearing this notion that they inherited a dismantled immigration and an asylum system, and that couldn't be further from the truth. In November of 2020, we had about 800 individuals in CBP custody. Today, over 10,000 individuals in CBP custody. We had an asylum system that in the first 3 years of the Trump administration, we granted more individuals asylum protection than the highest 3 years during the entire 8 years of the Obama administration. So this idea that they inherited a broken immigration system is not backed up by the facts. It's a good talking point, and it's a good selling point in trying to talk themselves out of the situation that they find themselves in. But again, it's not backed up by rational facts.
So the facts are, and then I'll wrap things up with you, Chad, is that the Trump administration allowed more asylum seekers than the Obama administration did within 2 terms. They did it in 1, but they did it properly, making people either stay in their home country of origin or a safe third-party country and then coming here. So you didn't stop people from coming in, like is the narrative we're told by the left. Oh, the Trump administration and conservatives and the extreme right don't want immigration. No, the facts aren't there to back it up, are they?
That's exactly right. Now, we also denied a number of individuals asylum as well, but that's a function of a functioning immigration system, not a dismantling.
Yeah, that catches them if they're a criminal, or maybe they're lying about the reason that they're trying to come. We know that's happening right now a lot. Thousands of people say, I'm an asylum seeker, and they have no reason to do that. They just want to come to America. Great, get in line, follow the rules, like millions have done previously. Chad Wolf. Oh my gosh. I hate to say this, but I'm going to be seeing you real soon. I don't think this crisis is going away anytime soon, will it?
No, I don't believe it will. I don't believe it will.
Thanks for coming on the program. Stay safe.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, take care.